batis ng ating kabuhayan, papayagan bang makamkam, layak ka sa kanaan, ang dangal ng bayang Pilipinas.
The first cry of the Philippine Revolution. This event, which happened on August 23, 1896, is known as the Cry of Pugadlawin. It symbolized the determination of the Filipinos to fight for independence even unto death.
Bonifacio recognized the strategic importance of the city of Manila and resolved to take control of it, convinced that once he did, the residents, being fed up with Spanish rule, would support his cause. However, this plan was foiled before it got off the ground as a result of a conflict between two Katipuneros, one of whom spilled the beans about the plot to the Spanish friars. The traitor was Juan Mariano Hill, who along with the other friars had previously been trying to get to the Spanish governor to act regarding his suspicions of a revolution. A series of arrests of Katipuneros in Manila followed, and several Filipinos were jailed or imprisoned. Amongst them were some wealthy and prominent Filipinos, some of whom were innocent. Jose Rizal was tried and executed later at the old Bagumbayan field on December 30. With the hunt for Katipunan members is still ongoing. Manila had become a dangerous place for them. As many as 500 arrests had been made, and many fled the city for fear of being captured, tortured, or killed. Bonifacio was not amongst of those who were captured. However, he and many others had escaped to Pugadlawin, and in a meeting at the house of Juan Ramos on 23rd of August, year of 1896, Bonifacio urged his followers to tear their sedulas into pieces as a sign of revolt against the Spanish government. The men, highly motivated by the killings and arrest of their members in Manila, tore up the documents and let out the cry, "Long live the Philippines," which is known as the Cry of Pugadlawin in Philippine history. The term cry referred to the first clash between the Katipuneros and the civil guards, or also known as Guardia Civil. The cry could also refer to the tearing up of community tax certificates, or also known as cedula, in defiance of their allegiance to Spain. The inscriptions of "Viva la Independencia Filipina" can also refer as the term for the cry. This was literally accompanied by patriotic shouts.
In the context of the first cry of revolution, the date and the place were later contradicted by different Katipunan personalities who claimed that they were there at the time. The cry of Bahay Turo, another version of which launched the Philippine Revolution, is written by Santiago Alvarez. Alvarez was not an eyewitness of the historic event, although he was in Cavite at the time, and this is his version of the cry. He said that on Sunday, August 23, 1896, as early as 10 o'clock in the barn of Cabeza Melchora, at the place called Sampalucan Barrio of Bahay Turo, Katipuneros met together. About 500 of these arrived. On Monday, August 24, there were about 1,000 Katipuneros. The Supremo decided to hold the meeting began at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was 12 o'clock noon when the meeting adjourned amidst the loud cry of the people shouting, "Long live the son of the country," which means, "Mabuhay ang mga anak ng bayan." The next claim is the cry of Balintawak by Guillermo Magsangkay. The first cry of revolution according to him happened in Balintawak, at the house of Apolonio Samson on August 26, 1896. 9 o'clock in the morning, Board of Directors held a meeting for the final date of uprising. Later that afternoon at 5 o'clock, Spaniards were coming to them as their organization was discovered, and they were all marked men. And according to him, the acclaimed cedulas were turned more than once, which is on August 24 and August 26. This claim of him was supported by her descendant, Soledad Borromeo, that according to her, what supports this claim is the supposed meeting took before the cry, and the supposed battle that took after the cry, and according to her that the cry of Pugadlawin is a hoax or a malicious deception. With these claims, the cry of Pugadlawin was further validated by Pio Valenzuela, the only doctor participating in the cry, one of the surviving witnesses of the cry, and this is confirmed by the list drawn by Guillermo Magsaysay. In 1935, Pio Valenzuela along Enrique Pacheco said that the first cry of the revolution did not happen in Balintawak where the monument is, but in a place called Pugadlawin. In 1940, a research team of forerunner of National Historical Institute or NHI, which includes Valenzuela, identified the location as part of Sisiugulod, Banlat, Caloocan City. In 1964, the NHI described this location as the House of Tandang Sora. According to him, the first place of refuge of Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto Procopio Bonifacio, Teodoro Plata, Aguedo del Rosario, and himself was Balintawak, the first 5 arriving there on August 19 and him on August 20, 1896. The first place where some 500 members of Katipunan met on August 22, 1896, were the house and yard of Apolonio Samson at Kangkong. Aside from the persons mentioned above, among those were Alejandro Santiago, Ramon Bernardo, Apolonio Samson, and others. According to him, here views were only exchanged and no resolution was debated or adopted. It was at Pugadlawin, the house and yard of Juan Ramos, son of Melchora Aquino, where over 1,000 members of Katipunan met and carried out considerable debate and discussion on August 23, 1896. This discussion was whether the revolution against the Spanish government should be started on August 29, 1896. After the meeting, many of those present tore their sedulas certificates and shouted, "Long live the Philippines!"
Bukid, bundok, pagawaan at parang batis ng ating kabuhayan. Papayagan bang makamkam, layak ka sa kanaan. Ang dangal ng bayang Pilipinas, ninais sigupo ng lahas. Manggagawa ay magbalikwas, tutulan mo ang paghamak. Ang lahat ay magkaisang hanay, isa man ay walang hihiwalay. Hadlangan ang mga kahaman, mapanihin